Hello. Welcome to a very defeated episode 256 of the TEW 2020 Challenge Run. This is going to be SmackDown for week 1 of June 2022. The road to Money in the Bank continues, etc. If you don't know what I'm on about, make sure to go watch the end of Infinity Raw yesterday. To say that the future of the save got fucked up, especially on the women's side of things, would be an understatement. But we're gonna, apart from when it comes up in segments tonight, because, you know, one of them was the most important part of SmackDown, and one of them, the other most important part of the SmackDown on the male side, is the guilty party in question. Other than that, we're gonna have a foreign show. We don't mention the two. Okay? We've got Keith Lee and Happy Corbin for spotting Money in the Bank. We've got Shotzi and ND for spotting the women's Money in the Bank. And I can't remember if we announced anything else. I don't think we did. Oh well. Without any further ado, let's jump straight into the show. Oh, Bron Breakker was in a 100 rated segment. Okay. So Bron comes out, US belt around his shoulder, and he says, last week, Roman Reigns spoke about me and my championship. Well, he's got his championship, I've got my championship, and as far as I'm concerned, I'm content to let Money in the Bank be winner take all, title for title. So I'm not scared of you, Roman. In fact, I hear you're not here tonight. Maybe you're scared of me. Maybe you realise that your successor has stepped into the room, and that your days as this undefeated Tribal Chief WWE Champion are numbered. Because once I get in you, there's nothing I can do, because I'm going to let the dog, that's the dog in me, and I'm going to let it out, and I'm going to beat your ass at Money in the Bank and end your title reign. Then Paul Heyman, ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the words of a degenerate in the ring right now. You see, Bron Breakker, you're great. You really are one of the next top WWE superstars, and perhaps maybe even somebody I would like to represent one day. But Bron Breakker, that day is not today. That day will not be at Money in the Bank, and that day will not be at the expense of your reigning, defending WWE Champion, Roman Reigns. See, here's the thing, Bron Breakker, you are a good little United States champion. That's the perfect spot for you right now, but instead you thought you had what it takes to take it to the Tribal Chief. And the Tribal Chief doesn't appreciate what you're doing, Bron. And as a matter of fact, as the United States champion, you should know better than anybody else that you have to defend that championship every 30 days, or else you will be stripped of the United States championship. And Bron Breakker, Money in the Bank is over 30 days away from your last title defense. So, what I'm hearing is that you will not make it to Money in the Bank as the United States champion, because you are going to defend that championship tonight. Now, against who? Who will you defend the United States championship against tonight, Bron Breakker? That is the question that I've been considering. Could it be Ricochet? Could it be Adam Cole, Baby, Kevin Owens, any of these up-rising stars on SmackDown? No, Bron Breakker, you will defend the championship against a member of Roman Reigns' bloodline. You will defend the championship against and then Jimmy Uso cuts off the mic. He goes, nah, Jacob gonna sit this one out, Oos. I got him. I won the title shot tonight. And Bron's like, I don't care which one of you two it is, I'll kick both your ass. And then Pierce goes like, whoa, 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 it seems we have a main event set in front of my eyes here. And Jimmy, you wanted the title match at the expense of Jacob Fatu? Well, you got it. The main event tonight, it is official. Bron Breakker will defend his United States Championship against Jimmy Uso. So that's the main event, US title match, Bron Breakker, Jimmy Uso, you know. I had to get a defense in for him because, you know, I know in real life the 30-day thing is just a plot device, but I kind of want to somewhat keep it canon, so everyone has to defend every 30 days or else they lose the belts or whatever. But not that strictly enforced, but just as a general rule of thumb to make sure that I remember to book title defenses. So yeah, Bron's going to defend against Jimmy tonight. 75 is actually decent for these two, to be fair. Indy and Shotzi for spotting Money in the Bank. Shotzi gets it done. She defeats Indy with the Fright Night in 10 minutes 15. 72 for Shotzi, 71 for Indy. So she joins Toni Storm, Raquel Rodriguez, Charlotte, Liv Morgan, and Nova Nebula in Money in the Bank. And we're going to find out the next 2 spots next week when Ruby Riott faces off with Alba Fire, and then 2 women on SmackDown that we don't yet know will face off in a qualifier as well. But we do know that Shotzi's in at the expense of Indy. We then go backstage. Speaking of Money in the Bank, we're speaking to one of our competitors in the bank. Please welcome Seth Rollins. Okay, welcome Seth Rollins in. And she's like, Seth, Money in the Bank is going to be a huge night for you, you know. You got the final chance to actually get the second time, pull that briefcase down and maybe earn yourself a future right to face Roman Reigns for the championship, you know. Big things happening in your personal life right now. Congratulations, I guess, on that. Look at his fucking smug little face. You know, he knows what he did. Like, fuck you. He's like, yeah, you know, not only am I going to be a 2-time Money in the Bank winner, I'm going to be a 2-time daddy. And I'm going to fucking ruin everyone's plans again, you know. That's just what I do. I'm Seth freaking Rollins, baby. Anyway, enough about that. I'm going to become Mr. Money in the Bank again, Kayla. Not because I have to, not because I want to, because I do. I need to be the one to stop Roman Reigns. He's put that stipulation on our match back at the Royal Rumble because he's scared. He knows I have his number. In fact, that was the first time he'd ever beaten me one-on-one. So I know that I can beat him. I just need to get that opportunity again. And I can now get that opportunity again at Money in the Bank. That's when Trick and Carmelo walk into fame. He's like, oh, look at this. Big bad Seth freaking Rollins. Begging and pleading, Roman, please take me back. He's like, you tell him, Mello. About it. Like, well, you see, Seth, you're not going to be a 2-time Mr. Money in the Bank because I'm going to be Mr. Money in the Bank because next week it's going to be me and Ricochet in a Money in the Bank qualifying match. And I'm going to beat Ricochet and I'm going to get in that match. And, you know, just like you did all those years ago, I'm going to be that young rising star that pulls that briefcase down and then carries that Money in the Bank to the perfect opportunity and cashes it in. Maybe even in the main event of WrestleMania like you did. You tell him, Mello. It's just like, so basically you just want to be me. Like, listen here, kid. You're great. I like what I've seen from you here on SmackDown so far, but word of advice, not everyone can be Seth Rollins. Focus on being yourself. As somebody who's been Mr. Money in the Bank, you need to go into it with less of an attitude, because having that sort of attitude won't get you the victory. You need to sort of like take it in stride, realise where you are and what you're doing and who to piss off, because if you piss a lot of people off, you make a lot of enemies. I did just that. I pissed off a lot of people when I had that Money in the Bank briefcase. I'm just trying to avoid you walking down the same path as me. And he walks off, and Carmelo and Trick are like, whoa, no, leave him alone, Mello. You can take him. You're better than him. 50-rated segment. Cora Jade arrives on her skateboard. She skates her way into the parking lot at this front of the arena. She goes to enter, and the security guys are there like, name, please. And she's like, name? I'll come here. Jade. Cora. Jade. I'm sorry, you're banned. It's like, what? What do you mean I'm banned? It's like, you're not actually a member of SmackDown, so you're not on this list. It's like, what do you mean? And then some random, like, secretary woman, or Megan, or Kayla, is like, actually, no, we need to let her in. Mr. Pierce wants to see Miss Jade. It's like, wait, Pierce wants to see me? What for? It's like, I don't know, he didn't say. And then the security have to let her in, and she sort of heads to Pierce's office. Tony, we're going to give Tony mic time here because I realised that a lot of the Money in the Bank people haven't been getting that much mic time. So we're just going to give Tony a microphone because she's going to face off with Raquel because, you know, they're both in Money in the Bank. So it's just an easy match to book. And she's talking about how she beat Sasha Banks. That was a big win for her. But the bigger win's going to come at Money in the Bank in 2 weeks' time when she becomes Miss Money in the Bank and cements her place as the future SmackDown Women's Champion. When Zelina Vega walks in or walks out with Raquel and the rest of Legado, and she's like, oh, Tony, baby, do you really think that you're going to have what it takes to get the job done? Because Raquel Rodriguez, the Amazonian, is in this match with you. And this goes for everybody across the other show. You know, Shotzi, who just got in earlier on, Charlotte, Liv, Nova, all of those people. Nobody can outmuscle and outmatch the Amazonian known as Raquel Rodriguez, and you probably shouldn't even bother trying, Tony. Just let her win the briefcase now, and then we can all cut out the middleman. And Tony's like, hell no! Like, sure, Raquel is a threat, but I'd never back down for a threat in my life, and I'm going to beat her tonight and beat her at Money in the Bank. Just you wait and see. And when a babyface promises something, a babyface delivers. Toni Storm defeats Raquel Rodriguez in 7:38 with a strong 0. She gets an 83, and Raquel gets a 73. But yeah, Toni's really on a roll right now. She beat Sasha to get in, and now she's beat Raquel. She's picked up 2 impressive wins recently. Let's see if she can take that momentum into Money in the Bank. Speaking of Sasha, she's watching on backstage. And she's just shaking her head at the fucking monitor, watching Toni win like, oh, this fucking hoe. When defeated Indy walks in and she's like, I'm sorry I lost. And that's like, what do you mean? Oh, you know, Money in the Bank was supposed to be our night. My night specifically, but you were going to be there as well to like ride my coattails like you always do. But now I can't get any Money in the Bank, you can't get any Money in the Bank. I'm tired of this disrespect. I shouldn't even have to qualify for this. God, I won the first Queen's Crown tournament. Let me guess, I'm not going to be in that next month either. Now I'm going to make them take notice of us. Indy, you come with me because we may not be in Money in the Bank, but we will be at Money in the Bank. And Indy's like, well, what do you mean by that? And then walks off and follows Sasha. Shush! Shush, please. Shush. Shush. It's like, well, I hear the complaints. I hear the criticisms. Master Gable, you genius man, with your 4.0 GPA. Why are you not letting the Creed brothers face House of Black? Well, you see, here's the thing. The Creed brothers have only just joined the Alpha Academy. They're our newest students. They still have a lot to learn. And trust me, when the time is right, we will put them in a championship opportunity and they will make us proud, like the boys we know they are. But who knows how soon that night's going to be. But we will give them an opportunity because they are going to tag tonight against the infamous Errors Roderick Strong and Bobby Fish. But more importantly, next week, we're going to figure out what we're going to settle the score with House of Black once and for all at Money in the Bank. But we need to find out which combination of the Alpha Academy is going into that match. So, we're going to have a triple threat tag team match comprised of entirely Alpha Academy teams next week. It's going to be me teaming with Coach Thatcher against my number one guy Otis and Desmond Troy, and against the Creed brothers. And whichever team wins that will be the reps for Alpha Academy going into Money in the Bank. This is what we call training ground stuff, you know. These two, you may be like, oh, they're wrestling against each other. This is what happens every week in training in the dojo. Nobody knows each other better than we know each other, so we're going to help sharpen each other, and truly the strongest team will come out of that match on top and dethrone the House of Black at Money in the Bank. But for now, let's see the Creed brothers do their thing. In a 73, the Creed brothers beat Infamous Error. They pin Bobby Fish with the weird seated clothesline thing they do. 47 for Julius, 43 for Brutus, 67 for Roddy. No, 67 for Fish and 79 for Roddy. Roddy carried. Good on him. That's why Fish took the fall, because I know Roddy's that good, so it's fine. But yeah, the Creeds get a nice win here. Then we get a spooky House of Black segment. Elias is sort of strumming in the dark. He's performing like spooky rituals on his guitar. Like that's the whole reason he's in the group, is to like perform like spooky rituals on his guitar. And then Alistair's like, so, who wants to be the ones to take on the Creed brothers at Money in the Bank? And Elias steps up. He's like, yeah, I'll do it. I don't know which one of these I'm going to team with, but I'll do it. And then Alistair's like, well, next week the Alpha Academy are holding a triple threat match to determine which one of their teams will face us at Money in the Bank. How about next week we have ourselves a four-way, and whichever one of us comes out on top will have the honour of teaming with Elias at Money in the Bank. Does that sound good to everybody? And they're all like, yeah, it does, yeah. And he's like, good. Because we need to find out. We can't let these two win, you know. We need to find out what is strongest, because the house always wins and must always win. So whoever is the strongest in that match will get the honour of going to the pay-per-view and delivering our message there. Backstage segment, Cora enters Adam Pearce's office, and he's like, got his arms folded, he's looking sternly at Cora. She's like, you wanted to see me? It's like, yes, actually I did. It's like, I'm sure you know I'm breaking locker room code by bringing you in here right now. I'm breaking my trust to one of my top women's stars who said last week she didn't want you to ever be here again. Of course, like, oh, Bayley, yeah, I get it. Like, I've been trying to reach her all week, but she's not really got back to me. And I'm starting to get worried that I might have really messed this all up. Piss is like, well, I can't tell you about your friendship. That's not my personal business to step into because I'm your GM. All I need to care about is general management and not, personal feelings. But I like your attitude, kid. I like your spunk. I like your desire to succeed. So I'm actually going to give you a shot. We've got one last women's spot in the Money in the Bank to fill from the SmackDown side of things. I know you're not on the SmackDown roster, but you're going to have the opportunity to be next week. Because you're going to be in that Money in the Bank qualifier. And if you win, not only will you be in the Money in the Bank ladder match, you'll officially be signed to a SmackDown contract. And then you're free to come here every week, because you'll be under contract to SmackDown. Of course, like, oh my god, thank you. Like, I came here, like, expecting the worst news. But I've got the best news, in fact, Pierce. You're going to have, all I've got to do is beat... Wait, who am I facing next week? Pierce just sort of looks down. And Cora's like, who am I facing next week? I asked. Hello, Earth to Pierce. Pierce is like, Bayley. And she's like, Bayley? But we're friends. We can't face each other. Pierce is like, well, it is official. You will face Bayley next week, Money in the Bank qualifier, and your SmackDown future on the line. Biggest match of your career, Cora. I'm really rooting for you. 70 rated random squash match here. Dakota Kai beats Ashley Scott, who is Sky Blue, in 4 minutes 16 with a scorpion kick. Just a developmental woman I called up just for this spot because I didn't want to beat anyone on my actual roster. 78 for Dakota, 39 for Ashley. And Dakota raises the belt high. She already retained against Bayley last week. But this week she's jumped. Sasha and Indy. Sasha said she was tired of being disrespected. She couldn't get Money in the Bank. So instead she's just jumped the champion. What a bitch. We then cut to the Toxic Lounge after the break. They're in the ring, Toxic Lounge. And Manny's got a mic, she's laughing. She's like, what did I tell everybody? You all sat here and you saw us as a bunch of pretty faces. Admit it. You saw Toxic Attraction debut, like, oh, this isn't real wrestling. These aren't tough girls. Like, they're just here to look hot and draw men in and stuff like that. I mean, that we are, but we can also kick ass. And I think we may have proved that a little too well on Monday, if you know what I'm saying. So, maybe now, this whole facade that pretty girls and hot girls like us can't be badass is gonna go to bed, because it's because of a bunch of these pretty little girls that you're not gonna be seeing your favourite wrestlers around here anymore. Who knows if your favourite wrestlers will ever come back? Their careers could be over. All at the hands of these 3 quote-unquote bimbos. And I know that makes you so angry. But it's fine. Because it just proves what I've been saying this whole time. The toxic era has arrived. Then Kairi obviously storms out, pissed. No music again. Ready for a fucking fight. And Kairi's like... Let me start that again. Kairi storms out. And then the security sort of like stop by getting to the ring, because obviously there's going to be 2 security guards to get into the Toxic Lounge after the last week. And Manny like shouts at Kairi while she's trying to get past the security. She's like, oh honey, what's the matter? You seem to be all alone this week. Like, you're trying to get past our security, but too bad we can't. We got these installed because of you and your little friend last week, and I don't see your friend around here anymore. We took care of her, and if you don't watch yourself, we'll take care of you as well. But don't worry. I have a proposition for you. How about at Money in the Bank, you and your little friend Utami can team up against the 3 of us. And maybe you can get Io to team... Oh no, wait, you can't. You can't even get in contact with Io. Because she's in the hospital. because of us. And it's okay, maybe you can actually win for her and dedicate the victory of Money in the Bank to her if you actually do get to get the win. But it's not like she'll remember who you are anyway. Her brain's kind of messed up right now. And obviously that's the comment. Kairi fucking twats the security. Utami runs out, she takes out the other security, and they're now ready to chase down Toxic Attraction, who of course run away. But Money in the Bank, as you can imagine, was always supposed to be a 3v3, but there's now a gap on this side for reasons that I won't get into on this episode, because they will piss me off again, so... 84, that's actually pretty good, considering it's Corbin, you know. But Keith Lee's in. Keith Lee pins Happy Corbin with the Power Slam, apparently, in 9:43, to earn the 6th spot in Money in the Bank. And Corbin gets a 78, Keith gets an 82. So the men's Money in the Bank lineup is kind of stacked. It's Keith Lee, Seth Rollins, LA Knight, Tyler Breeze, Matt Riddle, Angel Garza, and then one of Rey Mysterio, Dominic Mysterio, Angelo Dawkins, or Montez Ford, and then one of Carmelo Hayes and Ricochet. Whereas on the women's side, it's Nova, Liv, Charlotte, Tony, Raquel, Shotzi, one of Bayley and Cora, and one of Ruby and Alba.
You throw me up. Wrestling. A man barely alive. Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology. Better than he was before. Better. Stronger. Faster. But what are we to do with all these leftover parts?
After that quick video, we get... Like, it had to be a short video because I want to do this segment. Keith's coming back through the curtain after his win, while Braun Breaker is in Gorilla waiting to go out for the main event. And he's sort of like, "Sup, kid? Like, I'm a big fan of yours, kid, and you really do have a future here on SmackDown. And I'm really pulling for you to stop that dastardly bloodline. You know, that bloodline was a thorn in my side as well. They still are to this day. I still need to get my hands on that Jacob Fatu for costing me that match. So, if I ever see those bloodline try and outnumber you again, Braun, just let it be known you have an ally here in me." And Braun's like, "I appreciate it, Keith." And they sort of bump fists as then Braun's music plays and he heads out for the main event, which gets an 80. I'll take it. Braun retains the US belt in the main event against Jimmy Uso in 10:23. He makes events number 5 of the US title. 80 for Braun, 76 for Jimmy. They have great chemistry. And yeah, that's actually... I thought that was going to be a lot worse, but Braun Breaker's really coming into his own now. The win over Adam Cole really fucking put him over the edge. Like, more so than the Randy Orton win did, because I had to keep Randy strong. But he was popular enough by the time he fought Adam Cole that I could just have him beat Adam Cole fair without a keep strong thing. And now he's really benefited from it. But he stands tall to end the show with the US title up high. 87. How has it gone 87? Like... None of the matches were that good. Seth Rollins didn't even wrestle, you know. And 84 was our best match. Okay, I'm not going to complain about a good show, though. But coming up next is the next rounds. I believe it's the last of round 2. I think it's Group G and Group H of the Cruiserweight World Cup, second round. I could be mistaken. Oh my goodness gracious me. We start off with what I believe to be the greatest match of the Cruiserweight World Cup so far. Kushida is a beast. He scores an 86 and carries this. But apparently Zachary Ben-Shahar is also really good. And he actually picks up the upset victory. He beats Kushida with the Champagne Super Knee Bar in 11:53. He got 67, you know. His stats must be really fucking good. So maybe Zachary Ben-Shahar is on his way to being one of the stars of the Cruiserweight division, which isn't something I saw coming, but that's why I do the tournament, to really assess every single person in the division. Kushida gets an 86. We knew he was a god from his days in the New America, but he's still just trying to find his feet as a singles right now. But he's definitely got a future as a singles, even if it's just in the Cruiserweight division, because of ratings like this here. On the other end of the spectrum, Scotty 2 Hottie whips out the Worm and defeats Joaquin Wilde with the Worm in 9:51. 74 for Joaquin, 34 for Scotty. This happened, so now, for those keeping track at home, Joaquin beat Zachary Ben-Jahar last time, and Kushida beat Scotty 2 Hottie. Or vice versa, I think it was that way around though. And now the inverse, so every single person in this group now has 3 points. Which means it's going to be a big, big last day for that group. 79 is also really good here. Flash Webster picks up the victory over Bobby Fish in 11 minutes and 20 seconds with a 450 splash. House of Black back on the board. He got to 75, he's actually good himself. He's not quite as good as Mark Andrews, but he's still doing good considering his pop's not that great. So, Bobby Fish 67. He has already wrestled tonight, that's his excuse. He was booked on SmackDown, so... Then the main event. A 71. Lindsay and Ken Cobain go for 14 minutes. 50 seconds before reaching the time limit, Lindsay puts him away with a link salt. And he gets a 58, Ken gets a 63. And we can take a look at what that does for the brackets of Group G and Group H. As I was saying, this group is now all on 3. So, basically it comes down to the winners on the last day. Kushida faces Joaquin Wilde and Zachary Ben-Shahar faces Scotty 2 Hottie. So, basically whoever wins those will go through. If there's a draw in either match, then I guess it's a fucking thingy-mabobby, a playoff game. If they both draw, then I guess it's a playoff elimination fatal 4-way or some shit. Which sounds wild, but I'm just gonna not book that. It's fine. I've got the ability to make that not happen. As for this group, it's also really close. Anybody can still get through this group. I like that I've left like 2 of the really closest groups right at the end, because that's going to make for a hype last day. Flash Webster's got to face Lindsay Dorado, and Ken Cobain's got to face Bobby Fish. Bobby Fish actually top part, but he's only got 1 point so far. It's disappointing for him. But Lindsay currently leading the line. Let's see what happens as the Cruiserweight World Cup's starting to get exciting now. We're in knockout wrestling right now, ladies and gentlemen, and what a hype time it is. And the show gets a 74. What matters more than the 74 and the 87 that SmackDown got, of course, is what you thought of the show. Do let me know what you thought in the comments below, and I'll see you next time for Raw, which hopefully won't be as awful as this time. See you then.